Alrighty, so today I'm going to do a quick preview of the two games that's going to be happening in tomorrow, and in general, in terms of the midweek action this week. We do have 6 games that's going to be happening, with the remaining 4 happening on Wednesday, and I'll do the preview of those 4 games after when I finish the review of both of these games tomorrow. But in terms of the first game we're going to talk about is the New York Red Bulls versus the Colorado Rapids. Now, what's interesting about this match is that these are the two teams that did not play in the busy match week number 23 action, and that both of these teams are definitely going to be very well rested coming into this game. Well, I'm not quite sure in the case of the New York Red Bulls because, they did play against Barcelona in a friendly matchup, and that's a match that I actually didn't watch, so I'm not quite sure if Gerhard Stuvert really started his strongest team against Barcelona, but either way, if you want to say in terms of well rested, you could say that the Colorado Rapids are that team because they didn't really play a game during the weekend, and you can say they're kind of the only MLS team that actually didn't play a league game in sort. But coming into this game, it's at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific, but the actual kickoff is 7:38 p.m. local time. By the way, the league missed a big opportunity to have a doubleheader national television kind of thing tomorrow because, these two kickoff time between the Red Bulls and the Rapids, and then later we'll talk about the Sounders against FC Dallas, are pretty much aligned for a double header action. But I can understand why maybe that wasn't the case because, MLS doesn't usually have national televised game in the middle of the week. Though saying that, we have seen a couple of those midweek action that's been on ESPN or it's been on FS1. But again, both of these games are just going to be on regional TV. But in terms of the all-time meeting, the Rapids does lead the all-time meeting 19-7 and 17 over the Red Bulls. By the way, the record, the Red Bulls does have a 10-6 and 6 record, while the Rapids have a 6-6 and 9 record. Last 5 games for the New York Red Bulls, obviously the last game they definitely don't want to remember because they lost 5-1 against Orlando City in the U.S. Open Cup, but we're only looking at league plays, and the last game that they had in league plays was definitely a great one. They won 4-3 against Austin FC on the road. They did lose 1-0 against their bitter rival NYCFC before drawing 1-1 to FC Cincinnati, but then they won 1-0 on the road against Sporting KC and then winning 2-1 at home against Atlanta United. For the Colorado Rapids, they are still in the midst of a horrendous run, with them losing 2-1 to the Seattle Sounders on the road. They did win 2-0 against the Galaxy to stop that bleeding that they've been going through, but prior to that, it was a 1-1 draw against Orlando, a 2-2 draw against RSL, and then losing losing to Austin FC 3-2 at home. And coming into this game, obviously the Red Bulls are going to be favorites coming into this. The Rapids this season on the road, it's pretty much either an automatic loss or they're going to be lucky to get points, as I think the Rapids are one of the 2 remaining teams that have yet to get a victory on the road this season. And while the Red Bulls this season have dropped a lot of points at home, especially in the beginning of the season, I don't think this is going to be the case. I think the Red Bulls should easily get a win in this one, and especially them trying to brush off in terms of the disappointment that they had in the U.S. Open Cup against Orlando City. But moving on, in the next match, we got the Seattle Sounders versus FC Dallas, which will start at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, but the actual kickoff is 7:08 p.m. local time. The Sounders have a 9-2 and 11 record, while FC Dallas have a 9-8 and 6 record. But in terms of the all-time meetings, like most all-time meetings, when the Sounders are involved on their opponent, they're usually leading those all-time meetings, and this one is no exception, with them leading the series 19-9 and 9 over FC Dallas. But when you look at the last 5 games the Seattle Sounders have had, it's been pretty brutal. I mean, they've lost 4 out of their last 5 games, and that that second half resurgence that we thought that they were going through coming into that game against the Timbers in the Cascadia Derby, that has been taking a huge stall because they lost 2-1 on the road in the last game against LAFC. They did win 2-1 against Colorado to kind of stop the free fall that they kind of experienced. Well, I wouldn't say free fall is the right word, but more like mini free fall that they were going through, because they then lose 1-0 to the Chicago Fire, lose 1-0 to Nashville SC, and then of course in the Cascadia Derby they got embarrassed at home by the Portland Timbers by 3-0. Now for FC Dallas, their fortune have started to turn around in these last couple of games, because we talked about how they also went through a really rough stretch, but their fortune has turned around these last 2 games, getting pairs of 1-0 victory, first against LA Galaxy at home, then 1-0 against RSL on the road. They did get a 1-1 draw in Copa Tejas against Austin FC, but it was a disappointing Copa Tejas game because they really needed to win that game to win the Copa Tejas, which they weren't able to do so. Then they lose 1-0 at home against NYCFC, and then they drew 2-2 against the Houston Dynamo in El Capitan. And similar to this one, I would say the home team is going to be favorites. I mean, I know the Sounders have been struggling in these last couple of games, but you got to say that against a team that they have had good history against, especially at home, you would think that they should be able to get a win. I mean, after all, we're still waiting for that moment when the Sounders are really making that charge up the Western Conference table and start to make it to the playoffs again. And that, you know, I know we still have a while to go, but they need to eventually do so, and that this will be a good opportunity to do so against a team that they know they have been able to have some success. But don't count FC Dallas out. I mean, if there's one thing that at least Dallas have done much better in previous year, they've been playing much better this season on the road and are able to not only get points on the road, but also wins on the road. That is something that we don't see in the past. Like in the past, it's an automatic loss every time when FC Dallas go on the road. So maybe this could be a little bit tricky for the Sounders to get 3 points, but I have no doubt that you got to say that they are favorites and that they're desperate in terms of trying to end this really bad run that they had going back to the Cascadia Derby loss against the Portland Timbers. But either way, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys like, smash the subscribe button. Let me know in the comments below what do you think of these two games that's going to be happening tomorrow. And as always, let me know in the comments your prediction for both of these games. But like I said, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button. And yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.